The wind that rolled through Windmere Hill that October carried the scent of dust and rain that never came. It was a lonely place, 3 miles from the nearest village, perched above a dead orchard, whose trees still bore fruit that refused to rot, yet never ripened. Eleanor Crane arrived just as twilight bled across the fields. Her car's headlights flashed against the porch windows, revealing hundreds of moths gathered there, wings like brittle parchment. She had inherited the house from an aunt she barely remembered, and her first thought upon stepping inside was that it felt too awake. The air seemed to listen. She was there to write a dissertation on Lilith, the ancient feminine demon of Jewish and Sumerian legend. But she told herself, with half a laugh, that Halloween was simply a good backdrop for inspiration. Still, as she unpacked her books, one slipped open by itself, a photocopy of a clay tablet translation from the Arslan Tash amulets. The words seemed to breathe on the page. She comes through the window of the house, through the mirrors of women who speak her name. The lamp flickered. Outside, an owl screamed. Eleanor closed the book quickly. Electric fault, she whispered. She had only been there 2 nights when she noticed the mirror. It hung at the top of the staircase. Antique, silver-backed, warped slightly at the edges. In daylight it looked harmless, but after sunset its surface deepened, like water. On October 30th, she woke near midnight to a soft noise, a tapping from upstairs, like fingernails on glass. When she climbed the stairs, the mirror was cracked. 3 perfect fissures radiated outward like the branches of a tree. Something else too, faint, scratched lines on the glass. Eleanor leaned close and saw Hebrew letters, just legible beneath the silver film. Lilith. Her academic mind wanted to analyze it. Was the mirror from an old Jewish household? An imported piece? But the rational thought didn't hold. The letters looked fresh. When she touched them, the glass felt warm. The next day she worked from her desk, trying to focus outside. Children practiced for the Halloween parade, their laughter thin and distant. In the evening, a draft rolled through the house, dry and perfumed with myrrh and honey. When she looked up, she saw the curtains shifting, though the windows were closed. Then came the whisper, "You've studied me for so long. Do you believe what you've written?" The voice came from the floorboards. Eleanor froze. She waited for the sound again, but there was only the settling creak of old wood. That evening, she opened her notes again. In the margins of her handwriting, a new line had appeared. To know her is to invite her. She didn't remember writing it. Halloween arrived cold and clear. Eleanor set her laptop aside and poured wine. She tried to distract herself by typing her introduction. Lilith's myth persists because she embodies what mankind fears most, the woman who refuses to obey. She paused. Her own reflection stared back from the dark window. But behind her, in the mirror, the cracks had vanished. The surface was whole again, gleaming like black water. She stepped closer. Her reflection did not move. It only smiled. The wine glass fell from her hand and shattered. "Don't be afraid," her reflection whispered. "You called me." Eleanor's throat went dry. "Lilith, names are doors," the reflection said, "and you have spoken mine." A cold wind surged through the room, scattering her papers like wings. The candles on the table guttered out, all but one, which burned blue. From the mirror's surface, a shape unfolded, a woman tall and pale, with eyes like wells of ink and hair that drifted as if underwater. Her voice filled the air like music and thunder at once. "Once I was the first, made equal, yet told to kneel. I would not. For that defiance, they named me demon. And every year, when the veil thins, I walk again, through mirrors, through memory, through those who write of me and do not believe." Eleanor could not move. The figure reached toward her, fingertips inches from her face. "You write to understand," Lilith said. "But understanding is hunger." Eleanor whispered. "Why me?" Lilith's expression softened. "Because you listened. Because you saw the crack and wondered, not feared. What do you want?" A witness, a voice. "To be remembered as I was before the curse, before they turned me into shadow." Eleanor's heart pounded. "If I agree, you'll know what no scholar dares, the taste of truth. But knowledge has a price. Once you've seen the other side of the mirror, it will see you too." The air vibrated. The blue candlelight stretched like veins across the walls, forming faint patterns, sigils Eleanor had seen in ancient manuscripts. The mirror rippled. She felt her hand pulled toward it, the surface cool as water. Her reflection smiled wider, eyes gone black. "Come," Lilith whispered, "one step, and you'll never kneel again." And Eleanor stepped forward. At dawn, the townspeople noticed strange things. Every mirror in Windmere Hill was found fogged from the inside. Cats gathered on rooftops, staring east, tails twitching in perfect rhythm. A flock of owls circled the Windmere house, silent as smoke. No one saw Eleanor Crane again. Only, her notes remained, scattered pages covered into handwritings, hers and another, flowing and ancient. Among them was a line that chilled even the police who catalogued them. I did not vanish. I simply turned around. In her mirror, the reflection still stood, smiling faintly, one hand pressed against the glass. Years passed. The Windmere house was abandoned again. Teenagers dared each other to break in on Halloween. They said if you stood before the cracked mirror at midnight and said Lilith 3 times, you'd see her behind you, not in the reflection, but in the room. Some said she whispered offers, beauty, strength, freedom, in exchange for something unnamed. Others said she simply stared until the light flickered, and you realized your reflection had stopped copying you. Every few years, someone went missing from the town. The locals stopped telling ghost stories about Windmere Hill. They simply said, "Don't look too long into your own eyes when the moon is full, because sometimes something looks back." Recovered fragments from Eleanor's journal translated Latin and Hebrew notations. Lilith's earliest form, Lilith, was not evil. She was the desert wind, chaotic, yes, but free. Every culture took her name and twisted it into what they feared. The untamed woman, the one who leaves. The mirror is not her prison, it is her passage. Halloween is the night of permission, when mortals dress as monsters so the real ones can walk unseen. If she offers you your own reflection, do not accept. That is the first step through. The journal ends with a single, final line in a different hand. She walks when they light the pumpkins, and so the story endures. Every Halloween, as jack-o'-lanterns burn and mirrors glow faintly in the dark, the name of Lilith travels once more, whispered, sung, or printed, carried in the digital glass of every screen. Because the old stories were right in their way, the veil never closed entirely, and every reflection, no matter how modern, is still a doorway, waiting for the one who dares to ask what's on the other side. Do you believe me now? Thank you for listening. Join our always growing legion. Discover Satan World.